Consult Asia delivers cutting-edge training to empower people to achieve their maximum potential. Engaged in developing and delivering customized learning and development programs specializing in leadership, business, sales, and life coaching. True to its name, Consult Asia works with partners worldwide in Asia, North America, Europe, the United Kingdom, and Australia, all from diverse industries: hospitality, tourism, banking, real estate, retail, direct sales, legal, manufacturing, and oil and gas. Consult Asia closely works with partners in their people development and business enhancement programs to achieve their business goals. And the Consult Asia Global team is just as world-class. Consultants and facilitators, coaches and mentors are industry experts from distinct backgrounds and cultures. Consult Asia delivers only high-quality training solutions and proactively pursues strategic alliances with global firms and consultants to stay ahead in the industry. Consult Asia Global, the world's preferred training group.
Hi everyone, Németh here. Welcome to tonight's episode entitled Raising Daughters Through Modern Parenting. And if you're a parent, either to a daughter or to a son, this episode is going to be very exciting and very informative for you. So please join us tonight as we discuss or as we converse about the challenges and the sense of fulfillment in raising children, especially daughters. For tonight's episode, we're going to be having two hands-on dads with me to share their inspiring stories and, stories of inspiration in raising their daughters. So let me introduce my first guest. Okay, he's actually a parenting coach based in Hungary, and he has a very interesting structure in coaching parents. And he'll be sharing with us later on this particular method that he's using. It's quite unique. That's why I was so excited to invite him to join us tonight. And of course, our second guest is a digital marketing expert who's also a content development consultant. So you guys are going to be learning a lot from these two hands-on dads, and they're both my dear friends. Let me now introduce, of course, Mr. Lóránt Németh. Lori, hello there.
Hey, Németh.
Our parenting coach. How are you?
I'm super excited and super nervous, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I would like to greet everyone who is watching us live at this very moment on Facebook and maybe later on the recording. So hello, everyone.
Yes. All right. How do you say hello or, hello, hi in Hungarian?
Hello is also completely okay for a Hungarian as well. The short term is also familiar to English. It's called Szia. Almost like see ya later, but we also call it when we meet each other.
Yeah.
Much more formal would be örvendek, which means translated like I'm happy to be here.
Okay.
Or I'm happy for you. An older version is servus.
Oh, wow.
Which comes from the Latin servus sum, which is like I'm here to serve you.
Oh, wow. That's a more formal way. Okay, we're going to be learning a lot about the Hungarian culture, probably, especially in raising children during this conversation. So thank you, Lori. And now, of course, my dear friend, who's, as I mentioned earlier, is well, he's not just a social media expert, but he's really, really good in helping coaches develop their brand and build their brand online. So without further ado, Carlo Cecilio. Hello, Carlo.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Dinette. Hi, Lori. Good
Hello.
to see you. Excited to be here. And good morning and good evening to everyone watching.
All right.
Exactly.
And this is the funny part. You guys know each other as well, right?
Yes, yes.
That's why I invited both of you to join me tonight. Okay, I can't see myself now. Can you see me? I keep getting on and off, the
We
off
see
camera. You
We
see me,
can
okay.
see you.
It's
Yes.
really weird because I
You look
can't see
fabulous.
myself. Oh, thank you. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Well, Carlo and Lori, thank you very much for making time tonight. As I've mentioned to both of you, a lot of my friends have been requesting for this episode for a long time now because, of course, Carlo, our generation, right? We're already parents.
Yes.
Especially myself, I have a teenage daughter, and you guys have very, very young daughters. And I think tonight's conversation is going to resonate, with a lot of our friends who are watching. So do you guys want to say hello to your friends and family who are watching us right now from all over the world? Lori, would you like to say hi?
Go ahead, Lori.
Hello, world. I'm really happy and super excited, and everyone who is watching, like wherever you are, good morning, good evening, or everything in between, or good afternoon. And yeah, I'm so thrilled and happy and excited to be here. So yeah, hello everyone.
All right. How about you, Carlo? You want to say
Yes.
hello to your family and friends?
Hello. Hello also to my family and friends and everybody watching. And we're just here to share our journey as dads and a mom, as parents too, in raising children. And stay tuned.
Okay. And our episode tonight is quite unique because we're going to be talking about modern parenting, which is very, very important these days, especially with the younger generation. Okay, so I'm going to throw out the first question to you both. Okay. And I'm going to
Okay.
flash it here. Oh, by the way, we'd like to say hello first to a lot of our viewers. Um, well, of course, my very, very regular viewer, I'm going to show her name here. Mrs. Glazer from London is watching. Hello, Mrs. Glazer, and thank you for always joining us on our FB Live every week. Thank you so much. And of course, Heidi is also watching, Carla's lovely wife. Hi, Heidi. Thanks for watching. And Doug is watching from Illinois. There you go. We've got viewers from the States as well. Must be very
Hey,
early there, Doug, right? So, okay. So, yeah. So, my first question to you both. Are you ready for the ultimate Mr. Universe question? Okay. I guess a question for you would be, what is the best part of being a dad to a daughter or to daughters? In your case, Carla, you have two, right? And you, Lori,
yes.
you have one. So what would you consider as the best part of being a dad? Maybe we can
Carlo, this
start with
time you go
Lori.
first. No,
Okay, Carlo.
this time Carlo.
So
Yeah,
This
yeah.
time, Carlo,
am I
good.
supposed to
Okay.
go ahead? Yes.
Yeah,
All
sure,
right.
sure.
I have two daughters. Their names are Zoe. She's 7 years old, and Zaira. She just turned 3 this month. Actually, is her birthday. So
Oh, wow.
for
Happy birthday to your
yeah, generally
angel.
I think girls are more affectionate. I guess
Mm-hmm.
that's a thing I enjoy with my daughters. And the best part I enjoy is being involved in their day-to-day activities.
Mm-hmm.
My routine starts with them taking care of them in the morning, so I make their breakfast. I spend time with them during mornings. I take them to, well, I take Zoe before everything that happened lately. I take her
Mm-hmm.
to school every day, and
Mm-hmm.
the time we spend together for me is uh, one of the best parts of being a dad. Spending time with them,
Mm-hmm.
watching them grow, and uh, shaping them or instilling the values that
Yeah.
we want them to learn.
Right. Very nice. Thank you, Carlo, for that. Okay. And what about you, Lori? What is the best part of being a dad to your lovely daughter?
Well, the best part from my point of view of being a dad is just to be with her
Mm-hmm.
the as much as I can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, the best part, the very best part for me are the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
As I used to, wake up early in the morning, and I used to do my own stuff,
Yeah.
like video editing and podcast editing and all the stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
till that time, the girls are still sleeping. I mean by girls, my lovely wife and
Yeah.
my daughter.
Yeah.
And usually, I used to finish before they wake up, and then it's just all about to serving them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like to make breakfast, make coffee for my
Mm-hmm.
wife, because without coffee nothing goes for us both in the morning. So I like to make some coffee, make some breakfast. And we
Mm-hmm.
used to watch together with my daughter, for instance, Tom and Jerry
Mm,
cartoons
how
from
cute.
the 70s and 80s. And today we did the same. So, we
Mm-hmm.
were just sitting in front of the TV, and we were just chilling out. And I
Yeah.
think this is one of the best parts of being a dad. But of course, it's such a amazing unconditional love
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
which you get as a dad. For
That's
instance,
very
and I
nice.
think you, Carlo, can also agree with me. Like the very first time when you saw your daughter and you look into her eye, uh, and 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 then you're completely lost, because until that moment you just thought that you can love somebody like your wife.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of love is a totally different level. I mean,
Wow.
it's above and beyond everything which I knew so far.
Wow. That's well, that was really well said, Lori. And as you guys were sharing the best part of being a dad, I could see both your eyes were sparkling, and I know that it must be really a very exciting journey for you guys, especially because your daughters are still so young, right? Um,
Yes.
well, because I don't know, Carlo. I mean, you're very active on social media, and I'm sure you've seen some videos or photos, funny photos of families where the kids were left with the dad, and then you'll see, funny stuff like probably the hair of the kid was being tied with a wire or something. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
how do you feel about this? I mean, how true is this that dads are usually, funny in a way when it comes to handling their daughters?
So I guess it's totally relatable, Tinette. Uh,
Really?
like guys are really different from girls, so
Yeah.
it really takes a bit of a adjustment and learning
Mm-hmm.
period really to understand
Yeah.
our daughters, because
True.
like I guess Laurie can also relate with this, is that
Mm-hmm.
I guess they're more emotional, more sensitive.
Yeah.
Okay, and with regards to activities that they do are totally different from guys. So
Yeah. Right.
it takes a lot, and I'm really thankful for my wife, Hides, for really teaching me the ways and how to
Yeah.
understand my
True.
daughter as well,
Mhm.
and there. So it's just a matter of understanding and learning from them day to day. And
Yeah.
yeah, it gets funny when they want to do very feminine
Hmm.
things, like play with play with the dolls, do cooking. It was totally different from what a guy, or when I was a boy, what I was doing. So
Yeah.
there lies the fun part and the adjustment part.
Right, right. But Carlo, I mean, you grew up with two sisters as well, so it
Yes.
shouldn't be that difficult for you to, to take care of your daughters, because you somehow at least have an idea what it's
Yes.
like, whereas other dads probably grew up with brothers and clearly have no idea how to, how
Yes. Yes.
how girls should look like, you know what I mean? So yeah, all right. What about you, Lori? How do you feel about these photos online that we see of dads?
I mean, are dads always funny? I think one is personality, like what kind of person the dads are,
Yeah.
because from my point of view, it's like I love to think that I'm always funny, but of course not. But we used to, my wife is always the bad cop and I'm a good cop. If there is something what what the kiddo wants, like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't know, ask your mother. Like,
Mm-hmm.
for me, it's completely okay. But yeah, just
Okay.
as Carlos said, like it's totally different. I'm a lone child, so I don't have any sisters or brothers.
Mm.
Uh, but yeah, it's totally different, I guess, to raising also a daughter, because besides also playing with dolls, and I also sometimes involved into the plays, and there are these small makeup
Mm-hmm.
thingies, and I got already my nails polished and
Yeah.
my eyebrows fadged, and I
Wow.
get some, and I think it was Dwayne the Rock Johnson who said, like, and I saw also from him a photo, like sitting in front of his
Mm-hmm.
daughters
Yeah.
in a pink room, having
Mm-hmm.
some tea and wearing some
Yeah.
ballerina stuff. Like, if your daughter says you're a princess, then you are fucking a princess. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
and,
No.
and I think that goes also. Of course,
Wow.
um, since we are talking also about modern parenting, we also used to
Yeah.
have our good days and bad days,
Mm-hmm.
just as everyone else.
Of
And
course.
sometimes it's harder,
Yeah.
especially in the age of our
Mm-hmm.
daughters, like
Yeah.
with the age of 3 and 4,
Yeah.
tantrums are coming all the time out of the
Mm.
blue, and
Yeah.
sometimes I'm just looking around like, what happened? I didn't do anything. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, but I try to be also funny,
Yeah.
and we also used to make a lot of pictures also together
Mm-hmm.
with my daughter.
Yeah.
My wife doesn't like if she got photoed also, but sometimes also she cannot run away.
Yeah. We're going to be talking about the, what you've mentioned, something very interesting there, Lori. But before we get into that, let's just say hello to Luis Tamayo, who's watching from Lawag. Now we've got viewers from up north. Lawag, Lori, by the way, is a city in northern Philippines. Very beautiful city. And I also would like to say hello to my cousin, Andy, who's watching from the US. He says, I have two teenage daughters. So thanks for this show. Thank you, Andy. And he's got a lovely comment here, which I'm going to flash on screen. One of the best parts of being their daddy is to watch them develop as musicians, following my footsteps. Wow! Congratulations, Andy. Well
Nice.
done.
Good one, Andy.
And
Nice.
we will watch them perform at their high school marching band this afternoon. Elisa and Michaela play the malphone and tenor sax. Wow, amazing! Okay, so there you go.
Congratulations.
Cool.
Congratulations. Please post some photos of their performance later, Andy. Looking forward to it. And of course, my very dear friend from the UK. Hello from England, Aris Akitania. Thanks to Nat and Consult Issue Global for another interesting show. Kudos to your guests for raising amazing daughters and for their being very hands-on. Yes, Aris, actually, Carlo and Lori are very, very hands-on. And that's why they're going to be sharing with us later how they can, how our viewers could possibly connect with their children, especially daughters. Lori, you mentioned something about princess. You mentioned the term princess, and I just have a question on that particular aspect when, this thing when people call their daughters their princess. Do you think it's healthy to call girls this term? I mean, because my personal opinion is different with my own daughter. I've never called her a princess because I don't want her to feel that, she's different from everyone else. I don't know if that makes sense, but I can treat her like a princess in a subtle manner, but I'm not going to be planting on her head that she's a princess because I don't know. I that's just my opinion. How do you guys feel about that?
Should I go ahead, Glory? All right, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Carlo.
For me, it's a matter of explaining to in my case, for my daughters, it's how I explain it to them. It's okay for me to role play, and when they dress up princess, and when we're in that play mode, for me it's okay. But I get on the flip side, I also keep it real with my girls, and
Yeah.
we teach them. Heidi and I, we teach them uh, to learn more, to not always act like a princess in a not so good way. I
Yeah.
guess that everybody's equal, even here at home.
Yeah.
We teach our daughters. We don't have help, which is common here in our country, Glory. We have a nanny usually. That's a common household dynamics here.
Yeah.
But we made a choice to raise our children without a nanny, and our girls help out in the house. Like Zoe, my eldest, we make her help wash the dishes. That's
That's nice.
her role. We give her a responsibility. So I guess it takes out the princess mentality, I guess,
Okay.
with that, and everybody uh, contributes in the house.
Okay. All right. That's a good one, Carlo. So as young as maybe 2, 3 years old, they're already learning. That they feel empowered because they're being expected to help with the chores, no matter
Yes.
how basic. That's great. What about you, Laurie? Well, how do you
Yeah.
feel about this term princess with
Uh,
with dads calling their daughters their princess?
that's also a double-edged knife. I totally agree with Carlo because it's
Yeah.
one
Good term.
thing. Yeah, one thing when you're playing
Mhm.
together and you're
Yeah.
in a role play and then you're a princess. But I also used to ask her like, "Are you a princess?" And she
Mhm.
used to say, "No, my name is Lena. I'm not a princess."
Okay. All
So
right.
she's already developing her personality and
Mhm.
knowing that she is not a princess.
Okay.
But if you
So,
are playing, then she might be a princess.
okay, of course. I mean, I mean, playing with parents
Role.
is a different thing. But
Yeah.
um, as I've mentioned, I personally have seen uh, little girls who were called somebody's princess, and as they grew up, they expect the other men around them to treat them like a princess, whether it's their drivers or the waiter in a restaurant
Yeah.
or security guards. They feel like they're a princess. So, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to lift a finger, do everything for me because this is how my dad treated me. And that's why I'm asking you both how you
Mhm.
feel about it.
Well,
So,
let me go first, Carlo, with this. Yeah,
Okay, go
because
ahead.
uh, it's also touching the areas of which I'm also used to have some practice in it.
yeah.
It's everything what we do as parents are coming from the parenting patterns and or habits from our own parents,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes those good old ways, so to speak, are outdated
Mm-hmm.
because of society change, because the world changed and we are living in a 21st century.
Yeah.
And we need to realize that if we are raising our daughters like you are daddy's little princess and you deserve only Prince Charming, and everyone around you is, only there to serve you,
Yeah.
that's a huge mistake. That's a totally huge mistake, and on long term, it can affect in a drastical way the girls or the daughter's personality and the personality traits, and
Right.
how she will, react, and just as you said, like she will expect from other men or even other women to be treated as such.
Yeah.
So in that case, if we are talking about this particular part, like you are daddy's little princess and you need to be treated as a princess, that's totally wrong. And I highly recommend anyone who is doing it right now to stop it,
Right.
because the girls also need to realize that there are some chores which need to be done. Also, I'm letting, for instance, my little one to help me out in the kitchen, because she's requesting me scrambled eggs all the time,
Yeah.
which only daddy can make. And she's also asking already, since a year or so, to help, like,
Yeah.
let me. And of course, at first, I give her only the eggs, the raw eggs, to carry to the desk, etc., etc. And of course, there were some, small accidents, but it's part of the game. Yeah.
Right.
So I let her do it also, and we also used to raise her and explain her, like, if you make a mess, then you need to also clean it up. And if she's asking for some help,
Yeah.
then okay, that's another thing. But if she is, in, because we are talking about, tantrums as well, like if she refuses to clean up the mess, then we leave it.
Right.
We leave
Okay.
it, and she cannot do anything else, like she cannot, watch a cartoon, or she cannot play, or she cannot draw or
Yeah.
paint until the mess is cleaned.
Mm-hmm.
So we are, at least we are trying to make her realize that something you need to make your hands dirty, but she is totally okay with that. But sometimes, just she's expanding her,
Yeah.
areas of what can I do and how far can I go,
Yeah.
and when will I drive daddy and mommy crazy. So this is the time where she's exploring her borders, basically.
Yeah.
But coming back to the original question of you, Tinette, like, that kind of, I don't know how it call it, politically correct, outdated parenting habit or
Yeah.
pattern is hashtag no go
It's
these
no,
days.
it's not gonna work anymore, right?
No.
Exactly. Yeah.
No,
So
because sorry to interrupt, because the roles are changed. Because
true.
and I don't want to be here sexist, don't get me wrong, but these days, not men, or not only men are the ones who are taking care of the family regarding work,
True.
because the women are also working, or sometimes they are even more successful there than men in their jobs, right? So the roles are on I like to think that those are on the same level,
Yeah.
because when we were
Agree.
kids, right, when we were kids, or if we are watching our grandparents, for instance, I'm pretty sure that also by you it was the same, like the father figure was the one who was, brought food and or money to the family, and the woman had to cook and take, raise the
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
But
Right.
tell me if I'm wrong.
No, I don't think I am in the position to say that you are wrong or you're right, but I see where you're coming from, obviously. And what you're saying is valid, because this is probably how aside from your culture, it's also your personal experience and beliefs that shape all these kinds of parenting styles. So yeah, okay. Well, thank you for sharing, Lori. I guess my personal take on this is, as fathers, it's important for fathers like yourselves to treat their daughters the way they want their future husbands to treat them, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So if a father keeps shouting at the daughter, or I don't know, maybe insulting, or I don't know, then obviously the daughter will
Negative
probably think,
things.
yeah, they will think that, okay, this is how my dad treated me, and this is what I deserve. So then the mentality that she's going to develop is like, okay, well, even if she didn't
This
like
is
the way she was
okay.
treated, that it's okay to be treated like this. And so she ends up with abusive partners or abusive bosses. Again, I'm not an expert on parenting, but I think this is how it can affect the life of a young girl in the
Yeah,
future.
totally.
So
Totally.
for all dads who are watching us, it's not enough that we're I can't say we're, but I'm also a dad, right? I'm a single parent. I'm a solo parent. Although, to be fair to
Yes.
my ex-husband Carlo, come on Carlo, he's watching, but he's also involved in the life of my daughter, because I make sure that even if we're not together as husband and wife, that we are partner parents, that we are cooperating as parents.
That's
And
so cool.
and
That's
in the
good.
world, yeah, I made this decision from day one, because Sophia grew up with me, but I never deprived her of her father's love. I make sure that they see each other
Which is
often.
good.
And I never badmouth my ex-husband to my daughter, because that's for what purpose, right? So the reason why I'm saying this is, to all the viewers, to all the dads who are watching us, it is not enough that dads are just merely providing food, education, shelter, or clothes or material things to their children, whether it's a daughter or a son. It's very important, like what Carlo and Lori are sharing with us. The time is very important, because, to be honest, Carlo, Lori, even as a mom, if you buy, when I bought Sophia, expensive stuff in the past as a kid, she doesn't remember anything anymore. But all she remembers is the time when I used to color with her. She remembers the time when we used to watch movies together. She remembers the quality time, but she doesn't remember the material things that I bought, unfortunately. So then I realized, oh, wow, that saves me a lot of money. I don't have to spend a lot now, right? So, yeah. So, guys, if you're watching, please feel free to ask questions about parenting, because here Lori is a parenting coach, and he'll be happy to answer some questions. And Carlo as well will be happy to share his insights. So before we continue, let me just say hello to some of our viewers. Miss Elma is watching, and she says hello to you and to your two handsome guests.
Hi,
Wow.
Elma. Nice to
So,
meet you.
and
Thank you.
Natalie, yes, and Natalie Osorio is also watching. And Aries actually has a question here. I'm going to flash it on screen. He's asking, okay, so he says, question for the gents. How do we shield our children from the not so positive effects of gadgets and social media, knowing that the younger generation's exposure to devices is very different to how we grew up? So who would like to answer this question? I mean, feel free. Lori, do you want to start?
I think Lori, it's a
Lori?
part of Lori's domain.
Yeah.
Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's a really good question, and it's actual it's important than ever before, especially when we are facing this secondary lockdown ish. I don't know what is it over at you guys, but we're gonna face the second lockdown soon, or
Yeah.
it's already here. I don't know. So and social media is really a crucial part to nowadays children. And if we are stepping outside of our like young daughters' ages, and we expand the age range, and we say we are also talking about teenagers right now, which I think it's also already might be important for you also, Tinette, because you also have a teenage daughter, right? So social media and other gadgets, I always used to say it's not good or bad. It's the content itself inside the social media application, which is whether acceptable or unacceptable. What we can do here from the very, very, very young ages, I think to sit down and talk to our children. And the more important is to listen.
Yeah.
Because if let's say a teenager child is on social media and has multiple accounts on one social media platform, and it actually this conversation happened, but on purpose I don't say on which social media platform, or was it a girl or a boy. So the teenager got several social media accounts, and the parent didn't know why. And what the parent did is, because we are talking about a mom right here, the mom forced the teenager to close up or to cancel 5 of the 6 accounts and keep only one.
Okay.
And I asked, did you know why your teenager kiddo had so many accounts on that social media platform?
Yeah.
And she said no. And this is a really, really important piece which is missing in nowadays parenting, because parents only see that their children are on social media and just tapping the phones, the tablets, the whatsoever, but they don't know the reason behind.
Yeah.
And that is really, really a sad thing.
Yeah.
Because we need to realize that social media and the internet itself, especially nowadays, is playing a key role in our children's life.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, we are living in a 21st century, and we are doing almost everything on our phones, right? So it would be a little bit hypocritical to forbid our children completely to use internet and social media. What we can do, and I think this might be the answer to your question, Aries, that we need to sit down with our children, and we need to be like open, and we need to leave behind our old parenting patterns, because and I think some of the viewers might be also in the same situation. Like, if you go to your kid's room and you can see that before you enter the room, you are already in this high state of mind, like, oh, probably he or she is playing again, or just hanging on social media and not doing the chores, not doing the school things, and before you enter, you are already in this angry mindset, in this angry you have this angry feeling. And of course, when you see that your child is tapping the phone or playing some games, then you just go fully, like, you can literally see this explosion.
Yeah.
And then of course it erupts in a fight, because turn it off, because I said so, because where is the camera, because I said so, because I'm your father, I'm your mother, and until you leave under my roof, you have to do what I say.
Okay. Okay. Well, Lori, I'm getting a lot of valuable inputs from you. And I'd like to go back to what you just said, but right now I want to hear what Carlo has to say.
Yep.
About this question, Carlo. But thank you for that, Lori. We're going to get back to your very important points later on. Carlo, what about you? How do you feel about this? I mean, shielding our children from, the not so positive effects of gadgets and social media.
I think the good point. First of all, thank you, Laurie, for sharing those concepts and ideas. And I agree that one of the realizations what Laurie told me is the internet and social media is here to stay, and it's part of our daily life right now, and
Yeah.
especially with this pandemic, it has its good use and for work and for family. On a personal note, Hides and I decided to just dial down and moderate the use of it, because it's really, I guess, what Laurie said. It's impossible to really like eliminate it.
Yeah.
It has good points and it has negative effects. We've seen both. We've experienced both.
Yeah.
And just like in my eldest daughter's case, when we were just starting out as young parents, it was so easy, like just to uh, when we want our alone time or we want to have a break.
Yeah.
So it's just so easy to give the iPad,
Yeah.
for example, and let him watch
True.
a movie or cartoons. And raising my hand, I'm guilty with that. Which goes to show I'm not a perfect father, a perfect dad, but we learn from our mistakes, and we try to be more responsible. And Laurie, I agree with what Laurie said. We just have to explain things and give our children, also hear them out, hear their explanations. Well, why do they want this? And I think it's good to open up conversations with our with our daughters or son to talk about these things and uh, find a middle ground, uh, and base it also with our family rules and family values. So there, we moderate it just to bring home the point, but we don't really eliminate, and we don't see it as something that's really bad, but we believe in moderation. So
Yeah.
there.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that, Carlo. And I like what you said that we're not perfect parents, of course, all of us. Nobody is, right? We just do our best to to find which parenting style suits our family best, right? I guess that there's no ABCs to there are no ABCs to parenting, right? So maybe your style, Carlo, is very different from Lori and it's very different from mine. But just to add to what you both have said about the question of Aries here, Aries for me, because Sophia's 17, I mean, of course, at that age, they spend so much time on social media. And when she was much younger, probably 14 or 13, she was also already on social media using her gadgets. But at that time, it was much easier for me to say, can you please, stop using that? I was more of like I was more of like a dictator back then. You know what I mean? But if I try that parenting style now, I'm not gonna get any positive reaction at all, right? So I guess to answer your question, Aries, we cannot really shield our children completely from the not so positive effects. But one thing is for sure, you can strengthen your relationship with your kids so that
Well
they are
said. Well
able,
said.
they are able to cope with the difficulties that these social media platforms are bringing to their lives. Because honestly, you're not awake 24/7, right? So when you're sleeping, who knows if your 12-year-old or your 10-year-old is downstairs looking at whatever. You can't really control, or their friends can be sending some links that we have no control over. But if the values are intact, if your relationship is strong, if the communication lines are open, and what I personally do, Lori and Carla, if I may just share right now, sometimes I really don't, I just, first of all, I knock on her room, right? I don't just, get
Barge
into her
in.
room. Yeah, I just, teenagers are very different. So I knock just to show respect that, that's your space. I'm not invading. I'm just, showing respect. And then I'll say, what are you doing? And she says, okay, I'm just watching this, whatever on YouTube. And literally I'm going to say, can I watch with you? And then even if I don't like it, I mean, honestly, I don't like it, but at least I'm there and I'm just watching it with her. You know what I mean? And then I'm just going to make some really neutral comments, not judgmental comments. And then she's going to feel a little safer with me, in terms of, her choice of videos to watch, or, you know what I mean? Or when she's on her Instagram, she's posting some photos, whatever. I'm never ever going to judge, even if sometimes I'm like, what's that? What are those whiskers for? What are those butterflies on your head for? I never make those kinds of comments. I just let her be. And then eventually she's going to feel that, oh, mom's not my enemy, and that's how I shield her. I don't take away the gadgets because, as Carlo and Lori said, Aries, it's here to stay. The internet is here to stay. All these social media platforms are here to stay. So I guess really strengthening that bond between parent and child is very important. So I hope we were able to answer your question, Aries. Thank you for that, Lori and Carlo. But before we continue, I'd like to say hello again to another good friend of mine from the UK, June. Can you read his name, Lori? Can you read?
No, I cannot read. Sorry for that.
But that's June from
June.
the UK as well. Yeah. And also, we'd like to say hello to Lorna Baniaga. We also have people and friends, watching from Singapore. Hi, Lorna. Thank you for joining us. And also, Angela is watching from Singapore. We have a lot of friends watching from Singapore. There you go, Natalie Osorio and Angela as well. Yeah, and then Aries has a nice comment here. Is it okay, Carla and Lori, if I just flash it?
Sure.
He says,
Yeah, sure.
He says, I can attest that Tinette has done an amazing job in raising Sophia, a bright, positive, well-mannered, and lovely teenager. Our family is sending you both a lot of love. Thank you so much, Aries and Audrey, Alfonso and Augusto. Thank you so much for the love. Just to let you know, Carlo and Lori, I sent my daughter to England last year for a full month on her own. She flew alone. It was so funny. I thought she was going to be anxious and worried. I was the one who went through panic attacks and anxiety.
I could imagine.
Oh my God,
Yes.
I'm not kidding. I was crying at the airport. Can you imagine? And it was my decision. I said I wanted her to, to spread her wings. I want her to explore, because she's been to the UK, to Europe several times, but that was the first time that she traveled without me. So funny, because Aries and his family were gracious enough to spend weekends with her, or a few weeks with her. So thank you, Aries, for that. But guys, I have to tell you, it was so traumatic for me. I was crying every night in the Philippines, and at the airport, there were families who were crying as well. And I said, and they asked me, they said, why are you crying? I said, my daughter's leaving. They go, I said, what about you? Oh, because my parents are leaving for, Kuwait or wherever to work for 5 years. And then they said, how about you? Who left? I said, my daughter. How long is she going to be away for? A month. And I'm like, don't cry. She'll be back after a month. So yeah, I was the baby at that time. Okay. Yeah. So thank you so much, Aries. Also, there's a comment here, gentlemen, from June. I think if we impose discipline with our children, proper education on the use of gadgets or the internet, social media from the very start, our children will be able to understand their limitations. He's not an expert in parenting, he says, but it works well with my daughter. She knows and understands her priorities. By the way, Amber, the daughter of June and Nympha, she's an absolute angel. She's very, 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 how would I say it? She's very well-mannered as well. She's really lovely, very smart, and very, I don't know, I can't describe Amber. She's just really a good kid. So well done, June and Nympha. Okay, so let's go back to our discussion. So you've mentioned earlier your best experiences as a dad, right? Now I'm gonna ask you now, Carlo and Lori, what is the toughest part of being a dad, especially to a daughter or to daughters? I'm sure there are struggles and there are challenges as well, right? Carlo, would you like to start?
All right. Since you already passed the ball to me, all right. Yes, it's a tough part. It's a tough job to be a dad or even a mom.
Yeah.
And to everyone, to every parent out there, we feel you. We feel your struggles. We feel your pains. In your day-to-day relationship with your daughters. And for me, I think the toughest part is being the role model. Because for
Wow.
me, it's I really believe in leading by example, and you cannot really teach what you do not have or what you cannot model. Because for me, modeling things is more important because it's really hard to tell or to teach your
Yeah.
daughter to do something that you're not willing to do or that you cannot be a good example of it, especially when you fall and you make mistakes and some you lose your cool at times. Uh, uh, you just have to pick yourself up and do better the next day. There, but for me, it's being uh, a good example
Yeah.
to my daughters.
It
It's the
is a
toughest
tough.
part.
That's very tough. You're absolutely right, Carlo. Thank you. What about you, Lori? What's the toughest part of being a dad?
I mean, I totally can agree with just what Carlo just said. Yeah,
Yeah.
to being a role model and leading by example.
Mm.
What I would add is the toughest part of being a dad is to be um, conscious enough to realize that I'm reaching back to the parenting patterns which I experience from my parents, because some of those parenting patterns are outdated, and
Yeah.
to realize that, oh my god, I'm doing it again. That's the hardest part, and to be aware of the fact that to stop it,
Yeah.
because it wasn't working with me either. It won't work with my daughter as well. That's the toughest part, to be on edge all the time, to beside the fact to be a role model and to lead by example, to be also aware of the fact of leaving the bad parenting patterns out of our lives.
Okay, so it's not easy. It's not easy to be a parent, guys. So if our viewers are thinking if it's really difficult or easy, well, I'm just saying it's not easy, but it's also very fulfilling, right?
Yes.
Very rewarding.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You would be able to do things that you never imagined you'd be able to do. You know what I mean, right, Carlo, Lori? Do you agree
Yes.
with that?
Yeah.
Sometimes you never thought that you could. Well, first of all, you never imagined you could love a human being that much, right? Because it's
Yep.
different. It's really different. A lot of parents I hear would say, "Oh, it's very difficult to have kids. It's very, I spent a lot of money for my kids. and it's almost always negative. But again, parenting, as parents, we can probably decide, are our children a blessing or are they a burden, right? And if our mindset is set on those two, whether they're a blessing or a burden, I think our actions will follow. So if we look at them as a blessing, well, definitely we're happy to see them in the morning and, greet them with love. But if we think of them as a burden, then when you wake up, you're already, I have to prepare the meal, I have to, give them a bath, etc. So it all starts with the parent, I think. Am I correct, Lori? Because
110%.
Yeah, because I actually never have attended any parenting seminar or coaching or anything like that. I haven't even read any parenting books. I would love to. That's why maybe you and I can talk someday. And, I really want to go through that parenting thing. But I just really feel that it's so important that parents take the initial step, And as you guys said, if you have a young child, when they grow up, we have to grow with them. We cannot be applying the same parenting styles when they were 8 or 6 or 4, if they're now 18 or 16, right? It's very difficult. I personally struggled, if I may just share that, right? I struggled to accept that my daughter, my baby, is now a lady. I can't, it was, honestly, it took me about probably a month of awakening and listening to Eckhart Tolle. Come on, Eckhart Tolle helped me go through this difficult time of adjusting from my baby to becoming a lady. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about that, but it's just, there's the fear that, oh my God, am I going to be out of her life? Is it going to be her friends or the boys who are courting her? I mean, by the way, she has a lot of suitors, and it's okay. A lot.
How do you handle that, Németh?
How do I handle? Oh, I just listen to her stories and just empathize and support and celebrate with her. It's just so funny because some of those boys actually reach out to me and message me and try to win my heart as well. It's so funny, isn't it?
So clever.
Yeah, very clever boys. Very clever boys.
So they court you as well.
They court the mom. And then they know that the best way to Sophia's heart is through the mom. But I let her be. I just tell her, you're smart enough, you have good values, so you know who to choose. But no, she said, no, I don't want to have a boyfriend yet. And I'm like, whew.
Saved by the bell.
Saved by the boy. Yeah, so there. Okay, let me just read again another comment from June. He says, I agree, leading by example is important as a parent. So yes. Do you guys raise your voices at your daughters when you're upset?
Carlo?
I'm curious.
Yeah, I'd
Carlo,
be honest. Sometimes it happens, and I'm not proud of it. And at the end of the day, I think you just have to apologize, be a man, and say sorry, and do your best to really learn from that mistake.
Yeah. I like what you said, that as parents, we also need to apologize. Very, very important. What about you, Lori? Do you raise your voice at your daughter?
Yeah, sometimes, when she is exploring her barriers, like I ask her to do something, and she says like, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And I sometimes I used to like to play with it. Yes, no, yes, no, no, yes, no, yes. And then she's just, turning. So, gotcha. But sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, yeah. I'm also not perfect. I'm far from perfect, actually. And I think I'm just like any other parents. I'm all the time wondering if I'm making the good choice or the bad choice. Am I a good parent? Am I a bad parent? So those questions, I think, are echoing in every parent's ears or in minds during the years. But that shows that we are really caring about our children.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I also used to sometimes raise my voice. Yes, I admit I'm guilty.
Yeah.
But just as Carlo, we used to sit down after everyone calmed down, and I apologize. Like
Yeah.
I really liked it. Like Carlo said, just be a man and
Mm-hmm.
I apologize. That's it. Yeah, completely. Yeah, and yeah, I'm also used to apologize
Very
because it's
important.
really
Yeah.
important.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Again, touching back to leading by example and
Mm-hmm.
showing my daughter that this is a healthy relationship, not the
Mm-hmm.
healthy one where there is no fights, there is no quarrel, there is
Mm-hmm.
nothing such that, and everything is, sunshine, happiness, and
Mm-hmm.
rainbow unicorns.
Yeah.
No, the fact is there are some fights,
Mm-hmm.
but if we can discuss and if we can say to each other, I'm sorry and
Mm-hmm.
I love you, then I think that is a healthy relationship. Just as
Yeah.
you said, Tinette, like even though you didn't agree, or you didn't like what your daughter is watching on YouTube, you're forcing yourself basically to watch it together, because
Mm-hmm.
those experiences will create memories,
Yeah.
positive memories on a long
True.
term. And this will
True.
be the reason why your daughter will ask always your opinion
Yeah.
in important choices as well, even though she will have her own choice, she will have
Mm-hmm.
her own will, but she won't let you out from to help her in that
Yeah.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
And
No, that's
this
very
is
important.
only because you did the same what
Mm-hmm.
we are doing right now with Carlo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for that, Lori. Just want to say hello to a friend who's watching from Atlanta, Jim Hewling. Hi, Jim. Thanks for. Jim
Hey,
is also one
Jim.
of my regular
Hey.
viewers, and just to let you know, Jim, I'm a fan of your book. He's the author of Four Disciplines of Execution with Sean Covey, sorry, and they've just published the second edition, right, Jim? So please continue to support Jim's book, Carlo. That's really, really good. If you want to learn the execution
Oh, we should
secrets.
check it out.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I have a question also, Tinette, since
Yes.
both Laurie and I have younger daughters, and
Yeah.
you've been there. So,
Mm-hmm.
what's ahead for us since you have an older? What are the tips,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you can call that,
Mm-hmm.
on things that are what we need to watch out for
Okay.
and be careful about as our daughter
Mm-hmm.
grows older and enters her teenage years.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad you asked that question, Carlo, because I could see a lot of our viewers now are my friends who are also like me, who have teenage daughters. So, well, I guess the most important thing is we have to remember that teenage years are the most confusing stage for a child, right? Because they don't know whether they're already an adult or they're still a child. And it's very, I would say it's a high pressure zone because there's so much demands from their end. Like they need to feel that they fit in, say among their friends, for example, or they need to feel that their family actually accepts them for who they are, that they're starting to become their own person. You know, when you have young kids, if you say, okay, let's eat now, right now, and if they're playing, you can easily just just carry them and put them on the table with you, right? And they are not going to say anything. They can throw tantrums, yes, but they're not going to take it to heart. You know what I mean? Whereas teenagers, you can't just say, no, 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 go, you know? There has to be a more compassionate and loving way to say it, treating them like, again, adults, but at the same time, providing them guidance on how to live life, you know? So again, that's number one, that we have to
Mm-hmm.
accept that they're becoming their own person. we also have to accept that slowly our roles will have to change from being the controlling dictator to like a friend. If we can develop that friendship kind of
Okay.
relationship, because I agree with what parenting, or sorry, not parenting, parents who have been there, that they say that if there is no relationship and all we do is just to give rules, it results to rebellion. So the relationship is the most, I think, important element of that
You have
of
to
the
nurture.
of the
I guess
yeah, you have to
nurture.
nurture. You have to constantly deposit into that relationship, do something nice for them, acknowledge them. And as we all know, the most important communication skill that we as parents need to master is really listening. um, Carlo, Lori, you cannot relate to this, because back in the day we had this song, Estudiante Blues. Do you know that song, Carlo? Right?
Yes,
That
yes.
that that's like it talks about the
The
a student's
struggles.
life, the struggles of being a student, in high school, something like that, or college probably. But yeah, it's really very tough to be a teenager. Their bodies are changing. You know what I mean? So can you imagine? I mean, like me, I'm in my 40s now, Carlo, but I have not perfected life, and I don't think I ever will. So why do we expect so much from our teens? Why do we expect them to be so
Mm-hmm.
according to our standards when we ourselves are not even there yet? So I guess we really have to just be more conscious, as what Lori mentioned earlier, as parents. We respect them. We respect their privacy. They need to have their own space. If your kids are staying with you in the same room, that's not going to work. If kids are sharing rooms, if you have more than one child, they have to have their own space, even if they're sharing a room. They have to have their own closet. They have to have no matter how small. This is what I I saw in some families where the clothes, the rooms, there's just no space for everybody, and everybody's just so resentful, and the teenage kids are just so upset about the whole setup. So yeah, respect the privacy. They need their me time. Sometimes I have to tell Sophia, so I call her PI, by the way. PI, you need your me time. And she's like, what do you mean, Mom? No. Just stay in your room for half an hour without me, without your friends, whatever, just you. And you know what? She'll come back to me after half an hour and she says, Mama, thank you very much. And I'm like, wow. She appreciates that, because she understands that, how it's like. I'm talking too much now, but sometimes it's important for them to just, be themselves without a parent trying to dictate all the time. So I guess that's all I can say, Carlo. There's so much more that I
Mm-hmm.
want to share, but maybe that we can reserve that for next time. So yeah. But it's exciting to have a teenage daughter. Okay. Right. Okay. We're just going to read a couple of comments here. Andy says, I was against my 16-year-old daughter having a steady boyfriend, but my wife wore me down and I finally allowed it with limits. But I'm always the bad guy with the rules, and Mom is, as Lori said, the good cop. So Andy can relate to you, Lori. They talk more with Mom about the day-to-day and girl stuff, understandably. I try to live a daily example of being a prayerful and religiously moral male figure in her life without trying to stuff my traditional beliefs down her throat. How can I be supportive of my daughter without seeming... Where's the continuation of your message? I don't...
Cut.
It got cut. Yeah. So
Without
anyway, so
seeming
Andy...
to be supportive of her,
How come I
singling
couldn't see
herself
that?
off with a boy and trusting her to make good moral choices in my absence. That's, I
I think
think,
Lori was able to read it.
Okay.
I was just looking up the
From your
original
mobile.
question. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's a very good question, Andy. Lori, would you like to shed some light?
I think Andy, your everything is what you do so far. You're doing great. Yeah. I think just as you said, let me scroll back. Yeah, like try to be a religiously moral male figure in her life without trying to stuff my traditional beliefs down her throat. That's what you wrote, Annie, and I think this is the most important, not to force our own beliefs and
Mm-hmm.
our own personalities on
Mm-hmm.
our children, because they have their own personalities. And just just to be there.
Mm-hmm.
What you can also try to to when you are at the dining table or so,
Yeah.
just try to ask her on
Mm-hmm.
some natural way, like how was it with your boyfriend. I'm pretty sure that your daughter also telling you some stuff. I do know and I do respect that your wife and your daughter have some mom and daughter time, which is completely
Mm-hmm.
understandable.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would do here is just be more open and
Mm-hmm.
asking some questions, like, but be aware of what you're asking, you really mean it, like,
Mm-hmm.
because kids, especially teenagers,
Yeah.
realize bullshitting right
Mm-hmm.
away.
Yeah.
And if you're really interested and they can see on you and they can feel it, then I think you're one step closer to stay part of your daughter's life.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I would say.
Okay. Right. Thank you for that, Lori and Andy. I hope yeah, I hope Lori was able to share some of his insights on that question. So June here, Carlo, would you like to read this comment from June?
Yeah, sorry.
Because this is
There.
so in line with what you mentioned earlier. Mhm.
Yeah, let me read June's comment. The toughest part of being a dad is to know how to spell love. For me, the best way to spell love is time. By spending quality time with our children, it is also avoiding them from using gadgets, and it develops good relationships between father and our children.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
Yeah,
so
totally
in
agree,
line.
June.
Yeah. It was so in line with what you said earlier, Carlo. Yeah. Okay. And actually, he has a follow up comment here. My personal opinion, God fearing father is also a strong foundation of parenting in our modern times. I believed in book of holy scriptures and proverbs trying to train up a child the way he should, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Wow, well said, June. Thank you for that. Okay, so Carlo, if I may ask you, what parenting style are you using for your girls? I mean, is there any specific um, parenting style that you're
I'm
applying?
using.
Yeah, you're using.
Uh, I guess when before we were discussing the net on this topic, when we were
Mm-hmm.
planning for this talk,
Mm-hmm.
I guess it best described as being an active parent,
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah.
be an active dad, to be not just a provider, but to be really active and present. I think we were talking before this Tinet, and you mentioned about being present in the moment. I think that's the most important thing, that they
Mm-hmm.
see you, you're with them,
Yeah.
not only physically but emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
and being really genuinely interested in what they're doing, like what you
Yeah.
mentioned also, Tinet, that
Yeah.
even if you're not really into it,
Mm-hmm.
you make an effort to understand their world,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and understand how they think, how they what makes them happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you so much for that, Carlo. What about you, Lori? What parenting style are you using?
I think Carlo and I are sharing many thoughts
Mm-hmm.
on also on parenting and raising daughters, and yeah, just um, be present in the present.
Mm-hmm.
This is also what I used to say, and try to be just there, and try to get involved into the in our case into the games, or playings with dolls and with all the stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that goes, I think, also for parents who have, for instance, teenager children
Yeah.
or teenager kids. Like, be there for them,
Mm-hmm.
and don't forget to ask relevant questions.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very, very important, as Carlo and Lori mentioned. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, very, very important for us parents is to communicate and to connect with our kids. Our job is not to judge, our job is to love and to guide our children to become the best version of themselves, best versions of themselves. Donna here says it's a great discussion and it's a great prologue for next week's topic. So, guys, we also have a very exciting topic next week, which will also help a lot of our parents these days. So, watch out for next week's Facebook Live. So, okay, Carlo, Lori, I guess at this point, a lot of our parents would love to hear some of your big tips on how they could possibly, maximize, or if not maximize, but just make the most out of, their relationships with their kids, because time is flying so fast, isn't it? I mean, just yesterday you have this baby and tomorrow she's a lady.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the big message here? Do you have any message or words of wisdom for our viewers? Carlo, do you want to start?
All right. Just for me, my uh, biggest sharing, I guess, is to invest in memories, not
Mm-hmm.
in things,
Mm-hmm.
right? The for children, for time is love for children.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't have to be long, but I think I spoke to somebody about it. You just need to give them their undivided attention from an older parent. I think I was talking to somebody
Mm-hmm.
before, and
Yeah.
I think that's one of the best advice he gave. Just when you're
Mm-hmm.
with them, just give them their undivided attention, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, deepens and strengthen your relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
think that's the best guide that we can follow as a dad, as a mom.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Carlo. And because Carlo has two daughters, ladies and gentlemen, if I may just add to that, Carlo, if it's okay, it's
Yeah,
also very
sure.
important. Yeah, it's also very important for parents to not compare siblings with each other, okay? Because sometimes there's a tendency for parents to say that, oh, why can't you be like your sister who's so, she's an A student, blah, blah, blah. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
the other sibling feels inadequate, and that creates a lot of insecurities in the child. So, and plus the bad effect of that is that sibling might feel resentful towards the other sibling, that you're the favorite, you're always the better one, and then the relationship is no longer healthy between the parent and the child, and the child and the children, between them, between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's number one. And number two, I think it's also important for parents to spend quality time with each child separately. It's not supposed to be always together, because then they also need to feel that the parent, as what Carlos said, it's so important for the child to feel that she or he has undivided attention. So, but of course, it's quarantine. It's difficult to travel or to go out a lot. But even at home, you can just say, okay, I'm going to have a date with Zoe at this time. We're going to have a movie together. And, something like this. And I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but I grew up in a family of 6. I mean, we're 6 siblings, right? And I would never forget the quality time that our parents spent with each one of us individually. I would never forget. Yeah. We're 6, but they made time. Okay, we had a lot of family time together as, 6 siblings, but I also remember the time when my dad and my mom would just take me, somewhere. And then it's just the 3 of us, or it's just me and my mom, or me and my dad. And that's precious. More than the material things, more than the, whatever. I think quality time with parents. So Carlo, thanks for sharing that. That's really, really a good tip. And what about you, Lori? What is the big message here? What would you like to share with our viewers before we sign off?
First of all, everything what you two said before me, it's completely true, and I totally agree. I was thinking, what can I add to it? I would say, in order to be there with your child and be present in the present and have build a deeper connection, try to find your own inner child, because it's also important. And in that case, I consider myself lucky, because I can be easy, just as goofy as my daughter, when we are, walking down the street and we are hopping on these cobblestones, and I just don't care what the other people thinking around me, and you should do the same, because that will generate those memories, that quality time spent together when we were hopping on the cobblestones, on the street, and this is what I would say as takeaway. Try to find your inner child, and be aware of the fact to get rid of the old parenting patterns which we carried on our backs from our own parents, because many of those patterns are not working anymore in 21st century.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that, Lori. And would you like to invite them, for those of our friends who are watching who might want to go through some coaching with you? How can they reach you? Maybe you'd like to share your, I don't know, website or whatever. Feel free.
Okay, I will post it in the comment
comment section. Yeah.
In just shortly.
Yes.
I have a YouTube channel which is called RPG Coaching. I have a podcast which is called Gamepathy, where I educate parents in video games, in order to have a framework built around the gaming time of the kids. And of course, I'm open for coaching sessions as well. But I will leave my my stuff in the comment section for you. And thank you so much for the opportunity.
Sure. Okay. You're welcome, Lori. Carlo, would you like to invite them to visit your, you can share with our viewers your expertise, maybe?
What I do, yes. Actually, I'm helping Lori out also with his promoting his work and his branding, and I help entrepreneurs with their digital marketing, and I'll type my website. I have my website in the comment section, which you can check out.
Yes. Okay. And June has a note for you there, as a comment, Carlo.
Thank you, June.
Yeah, he says he agrees with you in investing good memories. So that's really, really nice. Okay. Right. So at this point, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank everybody who joined us tonight. And we, it seems like 1 hour and a half is not enough to talk about parenting. It went by so fast. It really did. And I hope that our parents who are watching tonight learned a lot from Lori and Carlo, and that all I can say at this point is I really wish every family love, peace, and light. That our children are all going to grow up happy. That's the most important thing, by the way. Our kids need to be happy before they can be successful. It's very difficult for us to keep wanting our kids to be successful without making them happy first. Okay, happy in the truest sense of the word. Yeah, so there. And I wish you all a lovely weekend. And yeah, so June says this is excellent. And great inputs from both of you, Lori and Carlo. So again, Carlo and Lori, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I had a great time with you talking about being a dad and a mom to our kids. So, and thank you to your wives as well for supporting you in this episode. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, please do not forget to follow us on Facebook. So there, I have my Facebook page on screen. And we also have a Consult Asia Global website. Please feel free to visit us at www.consultasiaglobal.com. And also, please like our Consult Asia Global Facebook page. If you have any more questions, guys, feel free. Oh, wait, before we sign off, there's more.
Oh.
Is that a marketing? Now we have a comment from Janos. Is that correct? Did I pronounce his name correctly? Janos. Is it Janos?
Okay.
Thank you, Tinette. And guys, It was an insightful Janos from Budapest. Yay! Hi, Janos. Is that the correct pronunciation for a Hungarian
Almost.
name? Is it Janos? Janos.
Janos.
Yay! I can pronounce it correctly.
Yes.
Janos. And Janos, thank you so much for joining us. That's really, really nice of you to join us. So Janos is also one of our partners in ICT Global Community. So thank you, Janos. All right, so guys, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you, Tinette.
Again,
thanks, Tinette.
No, you're welcome, Lori and Carlo. And again, parents, thank you so much for joining us. And to the kids, please love one another, love your parents, and parents love your children. Okay, so with that, good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Good night. Bye. Bye.